Today we're going to learn about factoring. Factoring is the opposite of distribution. So we're going to start with our algebra tiles. And again, we're going to take the blue ones for x squared out and move them aside because we won't be using them for these first two examples for today's assignment either. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to factor 4x plus 10. When you factor, you're trying to make as many even groups of your expression as possible. So remember, you will have 10 of these green bars and you will have 20 of the little yellow strips. Okay? A little yellow square, sorry. There we go. Now, since this is backwards, we are actually going to take our 4x plus 10, and we're going to start inside our area model this time, and each term gets a block. So 4x goes in my first block, and plus 10 goes in the other. So I'm actually going to make 4x plus 10. All right. So 4x is 4 green strips, all right, and plus 10. Well, I need 10 yellow squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, so I have the entire group, 4x plus 10. So I'm going to split up 4x plus 10 into as many even groups as I possibly can. So the first thing I see is I can split them in half evenly and make 2 groups. So now I've made 2 even groups. They equal each other. And in each group is 2x plus 5. Well, I could still split up the 2x again evenly, but can I split up plus 5? No, I can't split up plus 5 evenly. So 2 is the maximum amount of groups I can make for 4x plus 10. So we're going to put 2 on the outside of our area model. And there are 2 groups of, well, each group has 2x plus 5. And you can actually do the math backwards and verify. 2 times 2x is 4x, and 2 times plus 5 is plus 10. So we're going to do that in our pictorial model. So we had 2x plus 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We had 2 groups of that. 2x plus 5. So I made 2 groups of 2x plus 5, and that equals a total of 4x plus 10. So concretely, pictorially, and with our area model, we have factored 4x plus 10, and we have factored out 2 groups. And in each group is 2x plus 5. Okay, let's do that again. We're going to factor 6x minus 18. So 6x goes in my first block, and minus 18 goes in my second one. So we will make this concretely. So 6x, so I need 6 green bars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Awesome. Now I need negative 18. So I'm going to have to turn over all of these yellow ones till I get 18 red ones for minus 18. I'm just going to line them up. I'm going to make as close to a rectangle as I can to evenly distribute them. We have an easier time seeing the patterns when we try to evenly distribute them. All right. So I have 6x minus 18. So I'm going to try to split up 6x minus 18 into as many groups as I possibly can. So the first thing I see is I can split them up into 2 even groups. Okay? That's where I usually start. See if I can split it into 2 even groups. So each of my groups now has 3x minus 9. And I lined all my blocks up. And so if you see, we can split each half perfectly into thirds. They split up evenly. So I can split up this bottom half into thirds. And in each group is 1x minus 3. Well, if I can do that with the bottom half, and I split these equally, that means I can do that with the top half too. I can make 3 groups of 1x minus 3. So I've taken that one larger group and I've split it into 6 equal groups of 1x minus 3. So I was able to factor out 6 groups of 1x minus 3. And again, you can do the math backwards. 6 times x is 6x, and 6 times minus 3 is minus 18. So we'll do our area model, 6 groups of x minus 3. So 6 groups of x, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And attached to each of those groups is minus 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So pictorially, I made 6x minus 18 total inside the picture, and outside it is definitely 6 groups of x minus 3. So I have shown concretely, pictorially, and with my area model that you can factor out of 6x minus 18. You can factor out, you can pull out 6 from both terms. And what you're left with is x minus 3 on the inside. Well, now that we've connected factoring to distributing, which is what we just did, we did it backwards, and we did it with our algebra tiles, we're actually going to take this in a different direction. So we're going to clean up our algebra tiles. And on the back, we are going to learn how to factor using prime factorization trees. Now I'm going to use colors when I do these in the video because I want you to watch the math move. Alright, so let's turn this over now. Alright, my first one, it says factor 15x squared plus 12x. Okay, so I'm going to take my first term of 15x squared. I'm going to make a factor tree of 15. I put my 15 at the top. I make 2 branches. And what multiplies together to get to 15? Well, 3 times 5. 3 times 5. 3 and 5 are both prime numbers. They cannot be split up anymore into 2 more branches. So these are my 2 numbers. 3 times 5. Now x squared, that exponent of 2 tells you that you're going to write this x twice. So times x times x. Next, I'm going to do the next term, which is plus 12x. So we're going to make a factor tree for 12. Now you can make more than one factor tree for 12. These 2 branches could be a couple things, but at the very end, all of your prime numbers are going to be the same. They just may be in a different order. So I'm going to pick 3 times 4. You could, yes, pick 2 times 6, because 4 is not a prime number, so we're going to bring that down. to 2 times 2. Now, if you had done 2 times 6, you would have had a 2, and then when you factored 6, you would have the 2 and the 3. So your ending prime numbers are always going to be the same, no matter what an intermediate number you have. So we have 3 times 2 times 2. What we're transferring over is the prime numbers at the end of each branch. And we have 1x this time. Now we're going to play a matching game. We are going to match what matches what we have alike in my blue row and my purple row. Well, my blue row, I have a 3 I can match with the purple row. Keep going down, I have an x in my blue row, I can match up with my x in my purple row. So what I have matched up in both lines, I'm pulling out of both terms 3x. Now, once I pull out that 3x, what is left of my 15x squared line? We got 5x. 5x. Now let's see what's left of my plus 12x. My plus 12x line is 2 times 2, so plus 4. And again, you can do this math backwards always to double check. 3x times 5x is indeed 15x squared, and 3x times plus 4 is 12x. We're going to try that again. We're going to try that again with factoring 18x squared minus 9x this time. So again, our first term is 18x squared. So we'll make a factor tree for 18. And again, you can have a couple different numbers on these branches, but what we're looking for is the end prime numbers at the very end of all of our branches. So I'm going to do 2 times 9. You could have done 3 times 6. It doesn't matter. And then 9 is not a prime number, so I need to bring down 2 more branches, and that is 3 times 3. Now I have all 3 of my prime numbers, end of each of my branch. 2 times 3 times 3. I have x squared. I have an exponent of 2. That tells me I'm going to write down this x 2 times. Times x times x. Let's check out our next term, which is minus 9x. Minus 9x. All right, so minus 9. Anytime you have a minus sign in front of your number, first thing I want you to do is I want you to pull out a minus 1. Now we're going to factor 9, which is 3 times 3. So now we have minus 1 times 3 times 3. Minus 1 times 3 times 3, and we have 1x this time. Now we're going to play that matching game again. Now let's see, in my blue row I have a 3. I also have a 3 in my purple row. I have another 3 in my blue row. Well, I also have another 3 in my purple row. I have 1x in my blue row, but I can match up with 1x in my purple row. So what I have matched up in my blue and my purple rows are 3 times 3 times x. 3 times 3 is 9. So I've been able to pull out from both terms 9x. Let's see what's left. Well, of my 18x squared, I have 2x left. Of my minus 9x, I simply have minus 1 left. (9x times 2x is 18x squared. 9x times minus 1 is minus 9x. Now the very last one, I know this is a slightly longer lesson and I apologize. But this very last one, let's watch it. All right, so my very first term is 12a cubed b squared, and that's minus 15ab cubed. All right, let's take our first term. 12a cubed b squared. Let's factor 12. Well, you've got 3 times 4, and 4 is 2 times 2. So 3 times 2 times 2. 3 times 2 times 2. So if a is cubed, how many a's are we going to have? Yeah, we're going to have 3. So times a times a times a. And b squared, 2 b's. B and b. Our last term. Minus 15ab cubed. All right, so finally, we are going to factor minus 15. Well, I just told you that if you have a negative in front of a number, the first thing you're doing is you're pulling out that negative 1. And 15, that's 3 times 5. So minus 1 times 3 times 5. We have an a. We have b cubed, which means we have 3 b's. B, b, b. All right, last time, let's play our matching game. Oh, wrong color. We have got a 3 that matches with a 3. We have an A, matches with an A. We have a B, matches with a B. And we have a second B that matches with a second B on the bottom. So out of both lines, I was able to pull out 3 times A times B times B. So out of both terms, I'm able to pull out 3. A. B times B is B squared. Now, what's left of my 12a cubed b squared? 2 times 2 times a times a. 2 times 2 is 4. A times a is a squared. What's left of my minus 15ab cubed? Minus 1 times 5 times b. Minus 5b. Thanks for sticking with me, I promise. The next one won't be nearly as long.